Hi everybody, this is a video about XTool application. In this particular case, it's an application for FBPier output data post-processing. What is FBPier? It is popular bridge design software mainly geared toward substructure like a pile cap, and a pier. And whenever we build a FBPier model, it can analyze and export the results in output text file format. And generally, engineer would use those information within the text file for design or reporting. However, those post-processing effort can be time and labor intensive. And whenever there's a lot of human activity, it's inevitably there will be unintended error introduced. So how can XTool make a difference in this case? As always, it's a one-button search and access for the applications that is going to gear toward FBPier, and we can dive into the example to see the difference. Let's go to file. That in this file, it is a sample output file from FBPier model, and this file is geared toward human eye and brain, so it's a report style. It writes the data or information in a report type, and generally you would have control information as a header, and within this section you will have information regarding the control information. Let's go up a little bit, and let's say in this case there's an output control section that essentially you can tell the program what other information that you want the program to export. This video is not geared toward to sort of education of FBPier output information, so I assume the listener knows the output format and essentially how FBPier functionality is. However, in this case of particular interest, you can request FBPier to export all the information not only in this output for format for human read, also in XML format. So let's say going through this file like a human, you would be able to get the information whenever you of a particular interest. Let's say we need to get the pile force with DC ratio out of the output, and we have multiple piles. In this case, we have these pile with pile number and a node number, and all 6-degree freedom of forces, and with DC ratio. And if we want to collect all of the information for all piles, we would have to essentially do the copy and paste effort, either manually or through some way. So let's just say we copy this and we paste into Excel, and we can use text to column to delimit them. And let's say this is a quick way of getting that. However, right away we see a problem that you are having these force that line up, but when we delimit it, these columns start to not in the same row, same column. So it can become, there's ways to bypass all of that, but it can be challenging. There's different kind of problem that associated with a report that is geared toward human reading, and a report that can collect information in a more uniform format. So as I mentioned, the program allows you to request a XML output of the file. So with that, things can be different. So let's look at sort of XML format of an output. So this is a schemed output data. Essentially, most of the data that in the output file is also included here. So it's a lot more information, but it's more organized for computer to read it. As you see, the output file in this case is anywhere between 70,000 lines of data, and if you need to collect multiple information at the different location of the file, it can be time consuming. So what we have here is that we develop application to collect information out of this XML directly. Let's say open a new file, a brand new sheet. So it's an empty sheet with no information in it. Click any empty cell, right click, there's an ExTool cell, left click on this, it pops up a search window. This allows you to search any function that is offered through ExTool platform. In this case, we search FBPier. It has 3 functions exposed. You can double click to search, or you can search through search app. Let's say we want to start the collecting, and suppose this is the first time you have no idea what you need to do. The best bet would be press down shift and click on this one of the app name. Let's say double click on this with shift key down. So essentially loads a sheet with a table in it, and on top of the table there's a couple of lines with brown font information. For anybody who is familiar with ExTool, these are entry points of the application, and in this particular case we have exposed all the potential tables of FBPier output file that you can generate. Created a file, and you want to abstract some information from the pile, which is pile force on I node and J node. This is one of the popular demand from an engineer that out of this program. So what we do is that we click the FBPier underscore output underscore load selected table, right click, select ExTool cell, and it will pop up an input window, ask you to select the target table list to be loaded. It's one column. In this case is column B. Any items in the table. Let's say we want to load these 2. You can load other table as well. Let's just say we want to load soil layer, or these 3 additional tables. So we can hit OK, and all of these are loaded in a new tab. I'm using Excel 2013 to demo, but it works anywhere, any version after 2007. So you can use 2007, 2010, and 2013 for the same functionality. So let's go back to this summary sheet. That now we have 5 sheets loaded with hyperlink. You can click any one of them to go to that particular sheet. Each sheet hosts a table that will give you sort of a template to fill the information you need to get. So this is when we start with from scratch, and once you load the data, and you can always save the file. Next time you don't have to reload the same sheet or table. You can just refresh the data instead of loading the table. Now we have loaded the table. We can say, okay, I want to fill the table with my XML file. So this is what this application does. So it's called FBPier _output _fill selected table. So in this case, we want to right click on it and select XTool cell. And again, it asks you to select a target table list. And it warns you if you are using this function, any existing data of the selected table will be cleared. That applies for if you were opening a file with previous round of data and you want to refresh the data, and that's when you can delete the file, delete the data and refresh. But if you don't intend to rewrite the data, just open a new file and collect a new data set. So in this case, we want to, let's just say we collect only 2 tables. So we can say we want to collect data for these 2 tables and hit OK. And we come in and say I want to collect out of this XML file, which is this particular file, that we want to select this file, hit open or double click on that file. So it will go in through the XML file, load any information that is related to these 2 tables that we selected, and okay, it just finished the loading the data. Let's look at the table itself. So now we have loaded these 2 tables, and we can go to one of them. And in this sheet, it provides information about where you get this data source. And in this table, it has the highlighted column, which is the data, and the column beforehand is sort of the label that gives you more information about what this data is about. In this case, it's talking about the pile element and pile number and the element number of each pile, and it can potentially have more information about the load case and so on and so forth, whatever information is needed to make the data unique. Okay, so this is a table about 6,000 lines. It comes from a long list of tables that you need to collect. Should you need to collect it by hand, that's going to be taking a lot of time. So this is for anybody who has collected this pile force for I and J node, you will be able to notice the difference between them. So anyway, this is the sort of a quick demo of how you can load an output information from FBPier exported data and make it in a standardized format for you to use. So this concludes this application. Thanks for watching.